This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson! Anderson's up to him!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Yeah, so we're using the VRS Direct Force Pro this year. We have a wheel adapter right here, so I'm using the rim I used last year, but the motor right here produces a lot of power, a lot of precision, and it helps me, just feel the car more, feel the car a lot quicker, especially, this week we're at Sonoma. I can feel it, when it hits the curbs, any little change in the car, the wheel reacts a lot quicker than your typical gear-driven or belt-driven wheel. For example, if you're on oval and the rear tires break loose, force feedback on it corrects a lot quicker than your typical wheels. There's no resistance pretty much as far as being able to make quick corrections on the wheel. So all that, paired with how precise the wheel itself is, it makes it to where it helps you as a driver, to find that extra hundredth or thousandths of a second. So when you're getting a direct drive wheel, especially the VRS wheel, it's heavy duty. It's got good weight to it, it's not a plastic toy. It feels like you can really beat up on it. A lot of people have issues with their plastic gear-driven wheels just kind of breaking after a couple years. This thing just feels like it can go forever. The forces are really strong where if you might have to let go of the wheel if you get into the wall. You can adjust all that with the settings on it and stuff, but the wheel itself doesn't play around. It's got way more strength than you could ever need, and that's what makes it good, that you can adjust that down to whatever the car needs. So initially you'll be able to get the controller box and the motor together, and eventually you will be able to add a rim onto that option. They'll also be including a button plate on it to put on the rim to have all sorts of different buttons and functionality. Also, pedals are coming, so that's a pretty big deal as well. Hasn't been covered too much, but the goal is to also have pedals to go along with the Direct Force Pro. So that's pretty exciting. The wheel feels good. It feels very much like a real world steering wheel. You just kind of feel like what you would imagine the car to feel like. A real steering wheel in a car is very smooth, it's very direct, very quick, and that's what this wheel feels like.
This is normally what you would call the curtain raiser. This is what you'd normally call a track where everybody gets together and it's a nice, gentle effort to push forward and find times that are needed to set a season ahead. Where we are with your Virtual Racing School GT Sprint Series, this isn't an easy opener. This pretty much rounds out the opening quarter of the season. This is where you put cards down, and if you're targeting something in this championship, this is a race you really need to go out there and target here with SimSpeed TV and of course with Racing Action here today. This is going to be magnificent. 40 minutes, one stop required, and all of the makings of an instant classic. My name's Jake Sperry, Scott Fountain alongside me, bringing you the action here from the wonderful Road Oval, which has defined endurance racing as the premier start of the season. We're at Daytona Beach, Florida, and we are in for a treat here tonight. Let's take a little look down and see exactly where we find ourselves situated here today with all of the most sensational racing action. We go down to the tip of the United States of America to Florida. You've got Tampa Bay, you've got Jacksonville, New Orleans over there in the right, and somewhere down by that lake is the Sebring International Raceway. But we zoom on over towards the coast and to this Daytona course, which is time and again proven to be one of the most spectacular racing circuits. On paper, you look at this, it looks so plain and simple. An international horseshoe, a West horseshoe, a bus stop 8, 9, 10, 11. But what it offers is something so much more difficult than that. 5.73 kilometers, and you are heavily reliant on trying to stay within range with the driver in front. This is the true epitome of a draft centric circuit. It really will not pay today for these drivers to be in position number 1. And of course, there'll be a huge jostle trying to work out where you need to be on the pit stop cycle for this one. Qualifying is currently underway at this stage. Drivers have got 8 minutes or 2 laps to figure out exactly where they need to be. And there are a whole host of drivers from around the world, both current and virtual. Keep an eye out on this driver. He's probably the most versatile in the world of sim racing today, and he is Casey Kerwin in the Audi. Normally, you find him in the NASCAR in the iRacing Coca-Cola series, I should say. Former NASCAR Peak Anti-Freeze series, of course, and someone who definitely has the pace to be a star in all forms of sim racing when it comes to iRacing. He wants to put a good lap time on the board to start things off in that Audi, making that drive through the tri-oval to the line, and he crosses with a 1:43.8, only good enough for second position. Matthias Jensen, currently the quickest driver of them all in the RSR car at this moment in time. But what a name that we have here on the books at this stage. Number 20, the former Formula One driver, Rubens Barrichello, making his progress towards the start-finish line. And he puts a 1:43.5 down then on the board, which is good enough right now for 6th place at the moment. Daniel Kruth, currently the quickest, ahead of Dominic Kulikovsky, and Gabby Montoro then at this stage is 3rd position at this moment in time. So those times coming in, and of course it is class warfare as well. There is Vinicius Gaspar in the number 12 McLaren trying to make that progress over towards the start-finish line and hopefully improve, and goes P4, but it's Gustavo Ariel who is now up at the top then with a wonderful lap time. 43 flat, first one in on the board. Really looking cool then getting that one done. Here is Maxime Tillynerve trying to make a good charge then over towards the line, and you can see the nice meme livery there for Maxime right now, trying to get over the line. P16 there just behind just ahead, sorry, of Casey Kerwin after that first lap. There is Andres Blanco in the Audi right now, trying to get a good lap in on the board. A couple of drivers yet to put good times in right now. Artem Grabov, Emil Stanchu in there, Nathan Parkinson and Christian Ortega yet to put those times in. But Andres Blanco then coming to the line, doing a pretty decent job. But those second laps now are trying to come in. Daniel Merdelon then searching for a little bit of a lap time to put down on the board. We will get to Fonty shortly, but that second lap's going to be key. See whether you found a little bit more. Barrichello searching, Kulikovsky back up to second position under the apron, charging for the line. It is a 43.216. Barrichello goes 3rd, only for the moment. Gabby Montoro again jumps up into 3rd position. There is the prototype BMW of Christopher Kindler trying to hopefully find a bit of times on a 44.7 at the moment, and remains a 44.7 in this one. Just checking to see if there are drivers still out there with about 2 minutes here in qualifying. Chad Vinicius is one of them. Chad Vinicius Gaspar, that is. Got Blanco out there. Emil Stanchu. Tillynerve out there on a lap. You can't miss Tillynerve's livery, I can tell you that much there. He's got the numbers saying that he is currently in 20th position right now in the McLaren. Would definitely love a little bit more in terms of placing and positioning, but it's the sort of thing that we tend to see. Over the line, 43.5 crosses, and that is P14. Half a second off of pole position, 14th place. It's a strong field tonight, and the Canadian has tried to prove that here today. There is the Ferrari of Emil Stanchu trying to get it through. It's a 44.1 for Emil, so he does jump up the order, but only to P25 in this 29 car field. Andres Blanco goes 21st then with his time. Hugo Molina puts a 43.4 down. That's a pretty good last lap to put down to go to P9 with that one over the line. So that is everybody then done. Emil Stanchu will not be able to get around to finish off the lap that he needs. So we will be able to take ourselves over towards the starting grid in just a moment, because Fonty, the field's stacked, the times are stacked, everything's stacked. We're in for a showcase.
Yes, that's exactly right. Daytona, what a fantastic circuit. I love this place. And we're racing here in the dark, so it should be a great race tonight. And
some pretty famous names out there on the grid today.
We certainly do. Here is the starting grid. Gustavo Ariel then on pole position, 143.059, as Dominic Kulikovsky for a little bit of company in the Audis. Audis completely shattering into the top 6 with Gabby Montoro ahead of the legendary Rubens Barrichello, Daniel Cruz in 5th position, and Yannick Lorenz makes up the top 6. In 7th place on row number 4, it will be Chao Vinicius Gaspar in the McLaren with Michael Dreschler there in 8th position. It's Hugo Molina 9th and Roger Rosenda rounding out then the top 10. First Lamborghini, first Raging Bull is Dominic Arndt there in 11th position. He has Artem Grabov for company then in 12th place with Vendel Para there in P13 and Daniel Modelon in 14th on the 7th row of the grid. Maxime Tillinev then will go from 15th place with Fabio Unvedrus there in what is 16th position with Pedro Picanto and Casey Kerwin then making up row number 9, 17th and 18th place. Matt Caruana will be in 19th with Matthias Jensen in 20th. Shows how much he dropped. He was the first driver to be on pole in terms of this session with Jairo Vaya and Andres Blanco 21st and 22nd. Carlos Moreira de la Chica is in 23rd with Blake Neck 24th, Andres Bertoni 25th with Emil Stanchu in 26th. Then the final 3 drivers, we've got Christopher Kindler making his way through with Christian Ortega and Nathan Parkinson, who will be rounding out the 29 drivers here today in the BMW. Ortega piloting the only Ford today in this field. Of course, it's going to be a shortened pace lap that they will have to go through here, starting on the backstretch here on the run towards that bus stop chicane. And really, Fonty, what we're looking at is on paper an easy track. In practice, this is a real strategy game, and I would say any one of the top 15 have a very legitimate chance of winning this race.
Yes, you're exactly right. It's all slipstream, this track, and yeah, if you can get yourself in a nice little bunch and break away from the cars behind you, and yeah, we are going to see a pit stop, I believe, so that's going to play a big part in the overall result tonight. And yeah, with these big names out there on the grid, Rubens Barrichello, ex-Formula 1 driver, I'm sure these not so famous race car drivers on the grid tonight are going to be wanting to be right up there with him and beating him. So yeah, I expect to see a great race, that's for sure.
Understand in terms of this race that it doesn't matter how big your name is or where you're racing or how you're racing. You are racing and you are on the same level playing field as everybody else. It's a strategy game here today. Doesn't matter what you've done in your past, your present, or you hope to do in your future. You can only do what is in the now. You can only race in the now. Gustavo Ariel then, the only McLaren in a field full then of Audis behind him, will be looking to try and break away quickly. They are behind that iRacing Porsche first safety car, which will be diving down into the pits. It will take a detour left pretty soon. In fact, it's going to be in the next couple of moments, but watch out for that start. It can get very, very dicey over at turn number 1, and immediately the go is there. So we've got a green flag. We are racing here at Daytona. Gustavo Ariel getting a nice jump there. Kulikovsky just about falling into line ahead of Gabby Montoro as they make that progress through in towards turn number 1 for the very first time. All nice and clean as they make it through. Very nicely, well behaved as they figure out where they need to be. Too wide, they will try and settle it all down in towards the international horseshoe as they jam on the brakes. Yannick Lorenz has a view of Vinicius Gaspar at this stage in his mirrors. He makes sure that he gets through nice and calm as they start things off.
Yeah, very surprising to see how calm it was going through turn 1. It is a very difficult corner to get right. Oh, we've got a car around in one of the Ferraris. That is Wendell Para McLaren. I will be corrected. Oh, and a big pile up there into turn number 3.
Yeah, there's big issues at the West Horseshoe. Fabio Unvedrus is involved in that one. There's the number 8 in trouble. That is Matthias Jensen, who has been caught up there in all of that. No dramas at the front, but all of the issues in the middle has not been the most ideal at this moment. Barrichello unscathed at the moment in P4, but look how aggressive at the front they're already trying to break toe. Gustavo Ariel's got off to a really strong start. He's trying to break toe immediately. This is a track where you need to be a second away and you're gone. Otherwise, you are closing right up. You're saving fuel. Last place you want to be on this track is P1.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's such a long straight, and this banking really plays a part into helping that slipstream. And then you get into that big, the bus stop, the fast bus stop, as we are seeing it change for P number 2 as they cross the line. And I reckon this turn 1 would have to be one of the hardest corners in sim racing to get right.
Exactly, you've got to really pick that braking zone early. Gabby Montoro, number 1, moves up then into position number 2 in this race with a really strong drive. Side by side then, this is Daniel Modelon and Casey Kerwin going at it for position. Kerwin on the outside, wanted to get it done in the number 2. He's already up 5 places off the start, made really nice progress. He wants to make it +6, and you know what? He's flashing the headlights. He's saying, come on, I want to get through, and I want to prove to everyone I can get through in a really solid fashion.
Yep, you're exactly right. Headlights flashing, it's always a method to put that driver off in front of you. And yeah, especially in the night time, it certainly doesn't help. And yeah, this track is a beast in the day, but try to drive it at night, it's even more difficult.
Absolutely it is. We're on board with Rubens Barrichello in 4th position, having an eye on those 3 in front, Kulikovsky, Montoro, and Ariel, who leads this race outright, gets right up to the back of that Audi in front, lifts off then through the bus stop, and now it's about power on the exit because everyone now is going to be line astern. Behind that, you got Cruz, Lorenz is there, you got Chavanicius, Gaspar, Roger Rezendes trying to stay on this group, and this is all about staying in the group. If you're out of the group, you're in trouble, and this is how easily it can go from bad to worse. Here comes the move then for Gabby Montoro to move himself into the race lead. Then at the end of lap 2, the start of lap 3, through the tri-oval, it's as easy as you like, really, getting this done. And look at Barrichello going to the outside. Power move, trying to get this one done, but he now finds himself on the wrong side of the freight train. He's got to get the power down, and he remains in 4th.
Yeah, well, I was riding on board with Barrichello as he came into that, and he was off the gas for a long period of time, and just kind of selected the outside line and wasn't really trying to go for it, I felt, and that's why he had a bad run off the turn, because it was a bit unexpected for him for the car in front to make a move like that.
A little bit of an effort as well from Dominic Kulikovsky, who turns defense into offense, tried to get past Gustavo Ariel. No dice there as he had to lift off of it. Fears of dropping the train, which really does stack back, maybe starting to break around Artem Grabov at this stage, as Blake Neck has already found himself the way through on that. So this is a 16-car train right now for the race lead, and every single driver in that train, except the driver in first, is having that ability to save their fuel, save their tyres, and crucially, work out how far they can go with their strategy call. Again, it is close up front for the race lead. Gustavo Ariel really lifting off. This is tactics at its finest, and now they are starting to check up a little bit. Daniel Cruz then finding himself with Yannick Lorenz.
Yeah, you can see we've literally got a chain of 20 cars nearly lined up behind. This is going to be an almighty finish if they continue to race like this.
Well, it's Blake Neck now who wants through. Andres Blanco in the Fuel Tech car might be in a bit of trouble here as they go through towards it, but he's got draft in front there, has Daniel Modelon. This is Dominic Arndt just in front in the Lamborghini, who's given just enough of a run. And again, Barrichello taking the big wide line. He wants to go for the race lead here as he tries to attack here and go through. He's trying, but he's not got enough on the outside. So it's still going to be Gabby Montoro who takes the lead. But Barrichello is knowing the game and he wants track position. Modelon in trouble then as they get to the braking zone. But this is getting very hectic. It's like watching rush hour right now and everyone try and find a way out of London town.
It's really interesting. I'd be interested to get our director to jump on board as he enters that turn 1, and the line that he takes in there, he's off the throttle for such a long period of time and not on the brakes, which is where he's made up those positions, and it's worked out for him nicely second time round.
Yeah, and that's what happened to Model On that we saw on screen. There is Barrichello in second position. Race leader Gabby Montoro at this stage is trying everything to get through, but keep an eye out on who's in the train and who's in the train from where, because Blake Next started 24th on the grid. Andres Blanco started 22nd on the grid. They are in this train at the moment, but it is started splinter, and that's a tactical lift-off then, going into the bus stop from one Mr. Gabby Montoro. He wants none of Rubens Barrichello. He wants to put the most experienced driver in the field at the very front, the most disadvantaged position.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see now. I'm going to ride on board with the second place car, the number 3 car, see where he's going to lift coming into turn 1. Obviously, it's a big fuel-saving race, so where's he going to lift? Right there, before the start-finish line, he's lifted. He's coasting on the brakes now. Turns in down to second gear.
And Kruth has jumped up into 4th position in the meanwhile, ahead of Dominic Kulikovsky. Now, track position, this is key. They all have to make one stop in this race, Fonty. The last place they want to be is stuck behind someone else coming onto the NASCAR pit lane. So one thing that they'll be definitely trying to look at is we've got a little bit of argy-bargy going through. That very nearly is trouble for Yannick Laurent. Roger Rosenda there, very nearly disrupting the train. In fact, they may have just lost the train through that movement, as through will go Hugo Molina picking up the position. I think they've just kept themselves within the margin. The big key is where are you going to be when you dive down into the pits and dive down onto the lane? If you're going to be 4th, 5th, 6th in line, you could be in a real world of trouble if something happens coming down to the pits.
Have a look at that, Sperry. The first 19 cars are separated by 9.6 seconds. That is incredible.
Says all you need to know about this race, doesn't it? How strong a caliber of field these drivers are. They're not going to be dropped willy-nilly at this point. They're all going to sit and be patient at the moment as they all get themselves on the Rubens Barrichello train in this Daytona International Speedway race in your virtual racing school TT Sprint Series. And this is one of the great things about iRacing, as a big wide line comes in from Arsen Grabov right in the back. Is that you never know who's going to turn up as Gustavo Ariel decides he wants to get friendly with Mr. Barrichello.
There we go. Is he going to give him a little love tap at the back there?
He's going to sit, he's going to wait, he's going to lift off, and they are all going to lift, going through towards turn number 1. Barrichello may be a little bit lighter on his lift compared to a lot of other drivers going through that section, but it's about placement at the moment, and where do you find yourself placed in that train? It's all starts to splinter off, and of course you've got secondary trains coming along as well. Model On all the way back now in 22nd position. You've got Emil Stancu, for example. He's in a fight with Christian Ortega, who's there in the sole Ford.
Yep, you're exactly right, and it's yeah, it's amazing. It's just fuel save central for all of these drivers. Rubens is certainly doing every bit he can to save as much fuel, but to also keep that race lead. So come those pit stops times, it's going to be interesting to see who's saved enough fuel and who's going to have the shortest stop.
And it's also worth keeping an eye out on how quick they're going to be and how much they have to brake. It's an 88 km/h speed zone down in pit lane. And you can see already Barrichello is already up over 260 kilometers an hour, hitting now 270 Ks here heading towards this section. 273 before hitting the brakes, going into the left and the right of the bus stop. And the one place you do not want to be is position number 1 in the train going on forward. Now here comes the move for second, straight around. They're going to be having to be careful here because they might lose Barrichello if they're not careful. Gabby Montoro trying to get the side draft.
Yeah, so riding on board with Barrichello there, he was lifting off from the 400 meter board, so, and he didn't brake until about just before the 200. Oh, there we go. Little bit of contact there.
What a save by Gabby Montoro. He was sideways, really fighting against the car as they all tried to go through, and they somehow all survived. Replay brought to you by the Virtual Racing School. This is the finite margins of racing on a road oval course. You can see they all move together. They all try and get through. Gustavo Ariel says sorry as he goes up through, but watch this, they go through. Ariel moves up, and it doesn't look like much on this camera angle, but my goodness, was their wheel work.
Yeah, there certainly was. It was high speed reaction there, and he did very well to collect that. And yeah, they haven't lost the back of Rubens Barrichello, so Gustavo 0.3 of a second behind Rubens now.
And you start to see in third position here, Daniel Cruz in the Williams Jimmy sports outfit then starting to make his move up in third position. Started today in position number 5, but now they've got to be really, really alert to every single place. And this is all about strategy. You've got very, very accomplished drivers in the middle outfield. Casey Kerwin back there in 11th position. Hugo Molina there in 8th place. Looks like he's up for a fight as well. So now we're starting to see here how drivers need to make sure that they are making the right move at the right time. But another thing about these draft trains, you catch the same draft as the driver in front, you're really going to struggle to get up to top speeds to go and make something happen in these sorts of races. Battled side by side, Vinicius Gaspar then with Hugo Molina. This is Molina going to go spearing around the outside then and taking an opportunity to gain a place then. Nicely done on the brakes. He moves up one.
Yeah, just looking at fastest. First pit stop just underway, we've been told by our director, and that is the number 9 car, the Audi coming in, so we'll get a caliber of his stop time.
Oh, no, issue in the train. Roger Rosenda gets a turnaround there at the International Horseshoe. So he finds himself in a bit of trouble. Hit from behind he was, and it was the driver fighting with Casey Kerwin who effectively avoided that one nicely on the inside. It was Yannick Lorenz who ran into the back. We catch this on the Virtual Racing School replay.
Big thanks to Virtual Racing School for the support of us here at SimSpeed and this GT Championship.
Exactly, there was the hit then, and that's how easily you can go from hero to zero in these sorts of races. It was Michael Dreschler who came down into the pits and made his stop in the number 9 Audi. So he is the one taking the early call. And sometimes that can be a blessing, sometimes that can be a curse, because he will not have the draft to play with for these laps, and he's going to have to drive some pretty rapid laps to get through. And of course, not having that draft either means that he's had to put more fuel in the car compared to everyone else. Look at how Gustavo Ariel is very happy just sitting on the back of Rubens Barrichello. He doesn't want to go and take that race lead. He wants to force Barrichello out in front, so he has to use all his fuel first.
Yep, you're exactly right. Got to think about the long term in races like this, and he's really sitting underneath that rear wing of Barrichello. So is he gonna make the pass, or was he just trying to pressure Barrichello to maybe lose it into turn 1? But this 6-car bunch is really such a great race.
Well, it's 7 at the moment, because you've got on the back of that Vinicius Gaspar, his teammate, running into troubles. Then a lap prior, Hugo Molina was trying to get through on Dominic Kulikovsky, but no dice then at the front of the pack, and they've got to be careful. Side by side into the International Horseshoe, Matt Caruana and Andres Blanco there, but you got 2x2 as Ortega and Stanchu, Ferrari versus Ford, as they go through. Hello, movie. And then you've got behind Christopher Kindler in the BMW. He's got Nathan Parkinson he's just managed to dispatch of.
Yeah, there we go. Battles aplenty throughout the field. There's some pretty cool looking liveries as well, I must say. These cars are looking fantastic. Most of them looking pretty straight as well.
I must say, it has been an incredibly clean race so far. We've seen only a couple of incidents here and there, and nothing too dramatic since lap 1, but the gaps are starting to form here. Casey Kerwin is desperately trying to move up here and try and get himself on that train. He was a little bit bogged down after the driver in front came down to the pits, but he's done well. He's in a range right now, and he's clawed that gap back from about 1.6 seconds at the line. He's got that down to about 1.2 at this stage, but already Vinicius Gaspar is trying to get through on Hugo Molina now. For position here, it's the 12 versus the 22, as they now start to think about where do they place themselves on this run here into the tri-oval.
Yep, you're certainly right. Just looking at the fastest lap of the race, currently being held by our 9th position car, Yannick Lorenz. Yannick is driving in a Audi, and yeah, doing a fantastic job there in 9th. just hanging on the back of this a million car train that Rubens Barrichello has behind him.
Yep, Hugo Molina through on Dominic Kulikovsky. There is the fastest lap of the race, and that is Roger Rosenda in the wall at the International Horseshoe. Second time in 3 laps he has been caught out then in a bit of troubles. His teammate Vinicius Gaspar is having a good race, but here on the Virtual Racing School replay you can see he was side by side with that Lamborghini going in towards turn number 1 there at that first corner. But the issue's going to come a little bit later on than that. How does this one all end up in tears? He goes onto the brakes, he goes for the corner, and it is the Audi there which causes the domino effect.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Very unfortunate for him, and yeah, probably not the way he wanted to end his race. He can still continue on, and anything can happen. He can still make his way up from where he is.
Well, this is Andres Blanco's view of this. He was trying to pressure on that Lamborghini and find a way through. I believe it was Matt Caruana there. Gets a little bit into the back there, and I think maybe a slight bit of netcode to deal with that as well. But really a chain reaction that really wasn't quite ideal. Moves being made then as they move back once again in towards that tri-oval once more. Gabby Montoro sitting quite nicely in 4th position. He's going to move high side to try and get himself through. We're almost halfway, by the way, through this race, and he's on the outside, and he will get that one nicely tucked into line, but trying to make sure it's going to be just that. That is Montoro then trying to get the place. Behind that, Casey Kerwin trying to get the move sorted on Vinicius Gaspar, and the leader's absolutely going at it. Here comes the dive from Hugo Molina trying to get himself through on Cruz, and he gets that one done, as did Kerwin.
Yeah, fantastic stuff there. And just a bit of a shout out to, if you guys are interested in looking at the live timing for any of our racing, if you go to simspeed.tv/live, you can keep up to date with the live timing of all of our broadcast races and see exactly what we're seeing here and all sector times and everything like that. So jump on and check it out.
Keeping an eye on those lap times, it was a 44.2 from Rubens Barrichello that last time by. Michael Dreschler did a very nice 43.8. Radio comes in for Daniel Cruz. He is not very happy coming out of the corner. He is really struggling, and he's cautious now of trying to lose it. Now, with the way that it's been going right now, I think Dreschler's putting himself in a position with that early stop that he could undercut absolutely everyone.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, Willie, with not having any drafts, that could really hurt him though. I guarantee we're going to see the field all come in at the same time. When do you predict that they're going to come in, Sperry?
How about now? Rubens Barrichello going low.
There we go.
The pit. So in comes Barrichello then from the race lead, and they start to fight. Gaspar, they're 2 wide with Kulikovsky and Kerwin. Kerwin making his way through. Suddenly, someone's given a powder keg. The leader's in the pits. Nobody else decided to really follow with him into the lane. But now this is a real test of where do you go, because Barrichello versus what is now Dreschler is going to be the big race that we see. Dreschler right now coming out of 4.
Yeah, there we go. So Barrichello, 10.5 second stop, exactly the same as Dreschler. And
couple seconds.
Yep, slightly longer in the lane as well.
Slightly longer, but it's a couple seconds for Michael Dreschler. Here's when he comes out. He will see Barrichello in front. I put Dreschler around 4th position right now, but it all depends on how much the fuel save has been going on with the train. Nobody's wanted to be on that train, but look at Gustavo Ariel's gap all of a sudden. He's managed to pull himself out a little bit of a margin, about 7 car lengths he has here on the banking, and he'll be very happy with that gap over Gabby Montoro, because Montoro will have to use his fuel and chase that half a second gap to get back into range.
Yeah, you're certainly right. Yeah, half a second is about 7 car lengths, and he's got through the bus stop pretty well, so he is 0.4 of a second behind. The gap has slightly opened up a little bit more, so yeah, he's going to have to push that little bit harder to just hang on the back there. Who has a slightly higher top speed? Well, we've got...
Well, also, you've got to keep him up.
There we go.
Into the pit comes the leader then. So Gustavo Ariel decides it's his time to dive now. into the pits. The draft is there for Drechsler compared to Barrichello, but now this is a real key stop as Kulikovsky fights it out with Vinicius Gaspar in towards turn number 1. It now hands the race lead over to Gabby Montoro at the front of this field. They're just taking it a pit at a time. Ariel then into his box. Question's now going to become, at what point does this race really start to kick off? And everyone decides. I think they're all trying to run as far as their tank can take them.
Oh, kick off. When's it going to kick off? I thought it kicked off from when the green flag started flying. But yeah, I think you're exactly right. These stops are going to play a big part in it. And where's Barrichello going to come out?
Side by side. Absolutely.
There
so
we
it's
go.
going to be ahead
He's
then
going
for
to
the
get
moment.
the run.
He's not going to get there, though. So Gustavo Ariel ahead, but crucially for Barrichello, this is good. All the fuel he couldn't save in the first stint, he now has the opportunity to do so again against Gustavo Ariel. So this is a blessing in disguise being behind here for Barrichello, and this is where we're going to see the race come in. If you see that and you see them coming in, I'm sure Montoro, Molina, Cruz, and co, they're all going to think about, is it the right time to dive down onto the lane, or do I trust my pace?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I'd love to know the exact fuel numbers of these guys right about now.
Tell you what, so would I, Fonty, and this is going to be a real race where it's tactical all the way to the end, all about placement, all about timing, all about the right call to make the move. Top 3, top 4, top 6, all staying out. Side by side for 7th, Dominic Arndt. Then in a scrap, getting through Yannick Lorenz, but that train has sailed, and look at the gap that's gone all of a sudden. It's 1.8 seconds to those 6.
Yep, the gaps are certainly starting to form now, and it's, yeah, what were we before when I commented? It was 9 seconds separating the first 20 cars. Now it's opened up to 29 seconds. So, yeah.
It certainly has. Lights flashing from Gustavo Ariel as he wants to flash Roger Rosenda and find a way through on a damaged McLaren there just in front. So he wants to get through. It will be for position. Barrichello there just behind. And of course, quietly behind that, Michael Drechsler, who has played a really coy game by pitting the earliest he possibly could. But these are the sorts of drivers that you sit behind. There's the lunge down the inside. That is a late, late move, and one that he gets to the apex of and says, no, mine.
Yeah, exactly right. He's didn't make it easy, and I guarantee you that Rubens isn't going to have an easy passing shot there either. I might be wrong. I am wrong. He's left the door wide open for him.
Absolutely there, of course. Both of them, Brazilian drivers, they'll race each other a lot in the leagues that they have over there. Very competitive sim racing over in Brazil. In fact, it's so competitive that they managed to get iRacing to give them their own dedicated Brazilian servers to go and use with, because it's so strong, the racing that you see over there. So keep that in mind as they continue to go out there and race and try and put themselves in position. Gabby Montoro leading this race at the moment, but every single position becomes a key battleground right now, as here comes maybe a chance for Hugo Molina, but he lifts off of it then and decides he doesn't want in. But look at the lunge from one Mr. Daniel Cruz down the inside for Williams Jim. He just mugged him for that position.
Yeah, certainly did. Fastest lap of the race, Casey Kerwin, a 1:43.1. So times are certainly starting to drop now.
They are, and they're hitting the 15 minutes left to go in this race. They surely can't go much longer, maybe 5 minutes maximum. We saw at this race, they pitted in lap 13. That's Christopher Kindler in on the box, and this is a 10.8, I think that was on the numbers. Stop Jairo Vaya also into the pits then for the Audi.
Yep, stop's certainly starting to happen, and yeah, these front guys won't have much fuel left in that tank. I reckon we're going to see them coming in definitely this lap, if not this lap, definitely the lap after.
They've got to all be careful, because if they start playing coy, trying to save fuel, they're going to take themselves out of a race at this stage here. 43.5 from Gabby Montoro at the front of the field. Compare that to maybe the times that Barrichello and co were doing. Well, they were 3/10 slower that lap, Gustavo Ariel and co. So they are a little bit down in terms of pace compared to this train, which is absolutely motoring. And I remind this to cycling, almost like seeing a breakaway try and race against a peloton. More numbers, quicker drivers.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And around a track like this, that is so fast and the average speed being so high, yeah, you really want to be with a fast pack because,
Here we go.
if you're with those slow guys, there we go, they're all in the lane, or a couple of them are.
Melina Kulikovsky, Kerwin right on it on the lane. He's actually got the pass done coming onto the lane there at the line. So really good. Arntz then comes into the pits, as does Caruana and Picano then deciding to pit then. Gustavo Ariel's going to be key. They are actually dropping Michael Dreschler here in this group, and Barrichello's going to have to really work hard to stay with Gustavo Ariel. So this is going to be key. Where do these drivers all fit out in the grand scheme of things? Out and away will go Hugo Molina. Where are they right now? Only just coming through the tri-oval in towards turn number 1, but they've got to be so slow through this section. It's single track, and Molina's struggling there to get himself through and get himself power. Was he just waiting for the train or something as he was going through? I think he was waiting to get the train with him because he underfueled it.
Yeah, you're possibly right. So that in theory is going to put Molina in first, and then Ariel, Barrichello, Dreschler.
Well, keep an eye out on Cruz and Montoro, because those two could be in a really strong position. They could take everybody else in this race completely out of their comfort zone, out of battles for the race win, if their stop is A-OK. They have been sitting quietly and patiently all race long in and around the front of the field. This could be the move of the race that we see right now, taking it from a battle of 10 to a battle of 2. That would be in both drivers' best interest.
Yep, you're exactly right, Sperry. It would be. And Daniel Cruz, fantastic driver, let alone Gabby Montero. Those guys, there we go. Cruz is in the lane, along with basically the rest of the field. The only one to stay out was Montero.
Exactly, Montoro stayed out, so they're all in the pits. Daniel Cruz, Charles Vinicius, Gaspar there in the pits. Yannick Lorenz down in, Maxime Tillineuve, Blake Neck, all there. Here comes Hugo Molina. Then as they go through, you've got this fantastic angle on when they go. And look at that, already you're seeing drivers making that go. Daniel Cruz is gone a mile at this stage, but here will come the run for Hugo Molina coming towards turn number 1. Cruz will take the race lead, no doubts about it, as he will finally be allowed to get going at the green cone. Look at how they're going to be. It's going to be side by side here for the net race lead effectively as they go through. Lunge down the inside, a little bit of paint trading as they go through, and that's a good move by Hugo Molina.
Yep, this certainly was a great move, and I don't know if Cruz was too happy with that one. Oh, he's pushed him out!
Oh, how's he missed everyone? How has Hugo Molina missed everyone in that? That looked destined for a multi-car pilot. Molina in the fence.
I tell you what, Daniel Cruz was not happy with that move that he put on him, and he leaned on him there and pushed him into the grass, and the rear end came around. So that's been an absolute disaster of a finish for that driver. Very unfortunate. Now this brings Barrichello theoretically back into 4th position, providing our race leader has a good stop.
And in the middle of all of this, Casey Kerwin has spun it coming onto the oval as well, so he drops back with Molina also. So Casey Kerwin now down the field. Gabby Montoro in the pits will be followed by Artem Grabov, who is very good at fuel saving at this stage. So those two have to work together. But Montoro, of course, teammates there with the driver who just found himself in the fence. So now it's work. Has Montoro done enough here to chase these two? Look at this battle. Gustavo Ariel trying to push forward, because look at this. Montoro's already trying to get himself going off the lane here. They are really bump drafting here on this straight because they don't want to lose this race here to Gabby Montoro.
They've lost it already. He's gone. 9.3 second stop for Montoro. And Daniel Cruz, this is a 3-second gap back to him.
Absolutely. It's a whole international horseshoe at this stage, and now they've got to work and work quickly in this race. They know their pace is pretty similar, but if they're going to be drafting with each other, they have to work together. There is Molina down on the lane. There is your race leader right now. It is Gabby Montoro, who has played the fuel game to absolute perfection here today. He's done it better than Daniel Cruz, and the whole pack behind will definitely want to try and put themselves in a position to chase. Effectively, it's 4v1 right now.
Yep, that's exactly right. 2.5 seconds separating first and second. So Montero, I'm sure he's put enough fuel in it. 9.3 seconds worth of fuel has gone into the car. Don't know exactly how many litres that is. And I'm sure he's put in enough to get home safely without having to fuel save. I will confirm that. I'm going to ride on board with him for a lap to see what he is doing.
Well, the key is going to be who decides to make these runs. Surely now, if you're Gustavo Ariel or Barrichello or Dreschler, you've got to start making your way to the front and drilling your cadence to pull this gap back. Are you satisfied with racing for a podium here at Daytona International Speedway? Gabby Montoro has control of this one. He's got the number one on his car for a reason. As they cross the stripe, the gap is 2.4 seconds, and they're tripping over each other here for second place. I'm not sure they're confident they can catch.
Yeah, well, exactly. So Montero, he is doing the big fuel saving, and into one and into two. So he has definitely underfilled the car, and he's probably just going to make it over the line at the end of the race. We've got 7 minutes and 45 seconds left to go.
Well, this is the key here. If this is a fuel save from Gabby Montoro, and it is from the way that we've been hearing about it, Fonty, the key is getting within a second and a half right now, because that is the psychological advantage which says, I can chase that down. You don't have the opportunity to fuel save at your discretion. You have to turn the wick up to try and keep the gap at bay. Montoro has got one goal in mind. Keep that gap over 2 seconds. He's already lost 0.3 of a second over this lap already, and we're only just now on the oval.
Yeah, well, he is stretching it out there, so he's got that rear wing set pretty flat because he is pulling away from Daniel Cruz, but they are getting him under brakes, so he's kind of, yeah, it's a bit of a catch-22 really there. We see the gap close up through that bus stop there, and he will slightly pull away, I think, towards the end of the straight going into turn one.
Surely you've got to use the grunt of that McLaren to chase it down on the straights. Gabby Montoro doing exactly what he needs to at this moment in time. And the big key here for Montoro in the Audi is that he is doing a good job. 43.9 as he crosses the line. Cruz 0.4 faster. 43.5. Gaps down to 2 seconds exactly. They are all working together. In fact, it's Cruz on his own with a super domestique style drive right now, trying to pull himself back in. 7 minutes to go. They've got to get that gap down if they hope to go and attack at the end. Otherwise, you've just got 3 people on the back who are not willing to go and work with you.
Yeah, exactly right. Confirming Montero, no fuel save into turn 1 and 2 on this lap, so he is pushing his hardest.
He certainly is, and that's going to be crucial. You've got Kulikovsky, P7, P6 now with Charles Vinicius Gaspar in P6. So those drivers in their own battles, Grabov fighting Blake Neck. You've got Arntz and Lorentz in their own scraps. Those are for the top 10 places. They've got to figure all of those out then. Come now, come never. But now it's all about getting in range. This is such a draft central circuit. If you don't have it, it's trouble.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There we go. 1.9 seconds separating first and second. The gap's getting bigger from Montero in this section of the straight. No fuel save into the bus stop chicane there. Still pushing his absolute heart out, and he's back opened it up to 2 seconds. So he's got around about 3 laps left in this race. I think if he can continue this pace going, they're not going to be able to catch him.
Depends on fuel. Always depends on fuel and how much you have. You can clutch it to the line, but how much can you? And I think this is the time Gustavo Ariel thinks about pushing. He's bumping Daniel Cruz with the draft he's got. We're seeing NASCAR tactics then in the tri-oval. It brings the gap down to 1.8. Now you've got to start working together, and Ariel has got the message.
There we go. Rubens Barrichello fastest lap of the race. Only person to be in the 1:42 second lap times. He is currently sitting in P number 4, right on the back of Gustavo Ariel there. And these guys, they could really work together here to catch on the back of Gabby Montero. Current gap 1.7 seconds separating first and second.
That was a hurry up there from Gustavo Ariel. He said, if you're not going to go quick enough through this middle sector, I'm going to try and find a way through. The lights were flashing there on the number 3 McLaren. He wants to win this race. You can see there's impatience by the way he's driving. He's getting right up and personal here at this stage, and this one could come down to the final chicane.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's he is going to push. He is going to push the Audi of Cruz, or is he going to make the move? I think he's going to go for the move. No, he's giving him the big push again, getting that working.
Oh, this is incredible. This is absolutely
This is
incredible. This is Gustavo Ariel pushing his way forward to try and make sure that they are still in this race. Gabby Montero right now, or Montoro, sorry, is going to be looking behind, seeing that gap coming down, and he is going to be getting more and more concerned as this one goes on. Another bump draft then to Daniel Cruz as he tries to push him forward here. Gustavo Ariel bringing 2 for company in Barrichello and Dreschler as they cross the line. What's the gap down to now? 1.6. I don't think they're chasing quick enough, though. They're leaving themselves only one opportunity on the last lap, and a slight wide line there from Daniel Cruz is going to start checking them up again.
Yeah, there we go. So they were down to 1.5 with that push. Now it's back opened up to 1.6.
And there goes the move down the inside. He's had enough of waiting. Gustavo Ariel to second. Is this now Barrichello's turn to try and find the podium?
Yeah, I think you're going to see Barrichello fire it in. Is he going to go for the move coming into this right-hander? No, he's going to be patient. Stick on there and then potentially get him into turn 1.
Well, now you've got to wonder, how long was it worth waiting if you were Gustavo Ariel? He was sitting there, he was being very, very hopeful, trying to find that move, trying to find that overtake, and he was just waiting, hoping Cruz could do all the work and he would steal all the credit. He's now suddenly decided, I've got to do it myself. I've got myself a McLaren. Everybody else around me is in an Audi. I've got better top speed when it comes to the oval compared to everybody else.
Well, it doesn't show that on the stats there, Sperry. We've got Montero pulling away on the straight line there. There was 1.7 at the start of the straight. By the bus stop chicane, it was 1.9 to Montero. So he's really got that Audi. He's cranked a few more horsepower in it for today.
Yes, but what a run through the bus stop. He took 2 tenths back again, but they are running out of time. They are hoping that the fuel gauge for Gabby Montoro is in all sorts of dilemmas, but he's got a gap where he can fuel save on this final lap if he should need it then. They cross the stripe. 1 minute, 13 seconds to go. It's the white flag lap. Barrichello to the outside. He's gone way too deep through the corner. He will now drop himself back down into 5th place. Very comfortable now going through will be Michael Dreschler, but Barrichello will want to get back. They are driving themselves out of the podium fight on the brakes into the International Horseshoe. Barrichello still on the inside trying to get it through, but Dreschler is doing enough to hold on that inside. Small kink coming along left. It's okay. Montoro is still out there in front, and he is loving the fact that everyone is positioning themselves for battles. Big defensive line through the West Horseshoe there for Gustavo Ariel. He's given up hope on the race victory. He's hoping that it's going to be second, and back they all fight for. They are still fighting for the top 10. Laurent, Arndt, Neck and Grabov. Keep an eye on that. To the
there
end.
We go.
Contact. Barrichello has brought
He's going to let him go
around.
back past,
I think he's going to wait for him. He's going to take that redress, but I think he's run out of time for that, so he's going to fall behind Charles Vinicius Gaspar, and now it's down to 2 for what is going to be the podium. They have dropped down and lost themselves 2 seconds to Gabby Montoro, but now it's about the run for Daniel Cruz. And look at the tactic.
Side by side.
They come together. They come together. Ariel will go straight on. Daniel Cruz will pick this one up because there's a slowdown penalty coming. Gabby Montoro welted everything at everyone else. Stayed quiet, waited for everybody else to go and make their moves. And when he played the fuel game perfection, he's going to get it going, working nicely. Ariel could lose the podium here, but Gabby Montoro will pick the race victory off. Cruz in second, and Barrichello is going to have a drag race to the line with Charles Vinicius Gaspar. It's Barrichello in third.
Oh, what a fantastic race. I'd have to say that that was one of the best VRS GT races I have ever watched. What a fantastic spectacle that was tonight, Sperry.
That was all tactics, and they battle to the line as they go through. Every single position has been hard fought for drivers who got a lot, drivers who maybe lost a little bit here. This is a race where really you could say on paper it was all about getting the right result and the right car placement, and it showed today for those up at the front of the field. With everyone over the line, we can bring you through official classified results then from Daytona Beach, Florida. It's showtime. It absolutely was. What a spectacle this one put us for the VRS GT Sprint Series. Gabby Montoro, number one for a reason, wins by 4.6. He had to really work for it, though. They all started battling against each other on the last lap. Then with Daniel Cruz for Williams Jim coming home in second, and Rubens Barrichello just about sniping position number 3. You'd hope that the line was a little bit further if you were Charles Vinicius Gaspar. It's P4 as the first McLaren in the field, with Gustavo Ariel coming together on the run into the bus stop on the final lap. The slowdown penalty dropping him from second position all the way to P5. Michael Dreschler got spun on the final lap with Barrichello. That would only mean it would be 6th place for him. He just about holds off Dominik Kulikovski there for 7th, with Artem Grabov in 8th place. Blake Neck, very solid drive from the number 5 Australian there in position number 9. He gained 15 places over the course of the race, and Dominic Arndt rounded out the top 10. Yannick Lorentzen on the second page in 11th. A spin for Casey Kerwin coming onto the oval. He would have been right up in that wheelhouse fighting for that victory, mark my words, but P12 only it will be. He's ahead of Maxime Tillynerve there, the former Maxime de Tilly-Brisebois there in 13th position. There is Matt Caruana in 14th, the first of the Lamborghinis, with Pedro Picanco in what is 15th. Fabio Unvadrus in a spin early on in lap 1. He still gets 16th for his troubles, with Christian Ortega, the first Ford and only Ford there, in 17th. Christopher Kindler in the BMW in 18th. Emil Stanchu in the Ferrari is 19th, and Nathan Parkinson made the top 20. Very tough day for Roger Rosenda there in 21st there. The McLaren really struggling, got caught in the barriers early on, and Daniel Merdelon going for a spin earlier on. Andres Blanco found himself in troubles, as did Carlos Moreira de la Chica. And then we're into drivers one lap down or retired. Andres Bertoni, Jairo Vaya, Hugo Molina, Vendel Para, who got a win earlier on with us. I believe last week he got the victory over at Sebring, and Matthias Jensen then not making it over the line to finish off things going on. Short track coming up, though, next week. There are no surprises here. Lime Rock Park with 3 S's for classic in terms of the way that we're going forward. So good job there from our director, Jay Kennedy. But we got some brilliant racing coming up. And Fonty, small track means tight racing.
Better unmute myself there. Yes, you're exactly right. Gotta love the small track stuff. It's not all down to horsepower. A lot of it's driver skill and car setup. So yeah, really looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. The only place you can catch that is with us at SimSpeed TV. If you haven't had the chance already, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe for more amazing content. We're looking to push for 6,500 subscribers pretty soon. So please get in on the act and get yourself into the party. Massive thanks, though, to the Virtual Racing School, who have helped us sponsor not only this series, but also the replays that we've been seeing here today on SimSpeed TV. From those who have been battling incredibly hard, from the likes of Jay Kennedy on the cameras, from Scott Fountain, Fonty, alongside me, I am Jake Sperry. It is a big smile then coming across the line for Gabby Montoro. He played the fuel game to perfection as the race imploded behind him on the final lap. Daniel Cruz will be happy. He's got a victory that he's wanted, but there were chances on the table, including for driver number 20, Rubens Barrichello. If this is what can happen on a round 3 of the championship, we implore you to come to Lime Rock Park a week from now as we get more battling action very soon with your VRS Virtual Racing School GT Sprint Series.
Hey everyone, the USF 2000 is a blast to drive now, and here's your chance to learn it quickly. From my tutorial, VRS created a free bonus track guide for the Laguna Seca circuit, where you can learn exactly what I do in every corner to improve your lap times and get faster on track. You'll learn how to easily recognise brake markers, you'll find out which curves to attack and which ones to avoid, you'll know when to use the full track and when a sequence of corners requires a compromise, and you'll learn how hard to brake and when to lift. The VRS Quick Reference track maps are available free to download and delivered each week to your inbox. The entire global MX-5 series is available, as well as bonus maps like this one and many more. So if you're a new racer, or a veteran, or just anyone who wants to learn how to get faster sooner, the VRS track guides are for you. Just hit the link or button on screen and get yours today.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?